All right, so today we're gonna take a deep dive into something I think is really cool: specialist cars.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and this is a dealership in Manchester. Now, before you think, oh, just another used car lot, uh, let me tell you, this is different. You're listening to this because you're probably interested in getting yourself a used car. But not just any old ride, right?
Right.
You want
Right.
quality. You want something unique, and maybe even something with a little investment potential. So we're going to be looking at their website to kind of get a feel for what this company is all about.
And what's so fascinating is that right away you see that they've kind of hit this sweet spot between passion and practicality, right? They're not just selling transportation, they're offering a chance to own a piece of automotive excellence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the first thing that jumps out at me on their website is they've been at the same location for over 25 years. In the car business, it's practically a dynasty.
Absolutely. It definitely signals stability and a strong reputation. Longevity like that, usually comes from doing things right and building trust with customers.
Yeah, and it gets even more interesting when you look at how they describe themselves. The owner calls himself a collector who has a passion for cars. That's not your typical used car salesman pitch.
Yeah, that's not something you hear every day. And it really humanizes the experience. It suggests you're dealing with someone who genuinely cares about these cars, not just trying to make a quick buck.
Okay, so let's get into the why. Why choose specialist cars over any other dealership? Well, they lay out some pretty compelling reasons on their website.
And one that really jumped out at me was their emphasis on the emotional reward of owning a desirable car, right? It's not just about getting from A to B, it's about the feeling, the experience, connection to something special.
Yeah, and in a world where everything feels mass-produced and disposable, that kind of connection is increasingly rare and valuable.
Absolutely. And they tie that emotional appeal to a smart financial move, too. They point out that while interest rates on savings are pretty dismal these days, a well-chosen car could potentially appreciate in value over time.
So you're not just buying a car, you're investing in a tangible asset that you can actually enjoy. Pretty appealing in the current economic climate, don't you think?
Very much so, particularly for those who are passionate about cars. It's important to remember, of course, that any investment comes with risks.
Right, and that's where Specialist Cars' expertise comes in, I guess. They seem to guide their customers through that decision-making process, helping them choose cars that have that appreciation potential.
Exactly. And they're not just focused on one type of car either. They talk about supercars, yes, but also the enduring appeal of large luxury cars, especially as the future of the V8 engine, becomes a little uncertain.
So there's this sense of capturing a piece of automotive history, owning something that might become even more desirable down the line.
Exactly. It's a really astute observation. They seem to be catering to those who appreciate both the performance and the heritage of these vehicles.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit and talk about their approach to the actual buying process. They have this thing they call the virtual buying experience, which I have to admit sounds a little impersonal at first.
It does, but when you dig a little deeper, you see they've really blended technology with that personal touch they emphasize. You can browse their inventory online, of course, but they really encourage you to actually call and speak to the owner directly with any questions.
So it's not just clicking buttons and hoping for the best. You're actually talking to a real person, someone with knowledge and expertise who can guide you through the process.
Exactly. It seems like they understand that buying a car, especially a high-end one, can be a little daunting. They're aiming to provide both convenience and personalized attention.
Now, speaking of personalized attention, there's a strong sense that this is a family-run business. You really get that feeling from the language they use on the website, the way they talk about their commitment to customers.
Right, and that's a crucial point for a lot of buyers. It suggests a level of care and attention to detail that you don't always find with larger, more corporate dealerships.
Yeah, it feels like they're building relationships, not just making sales. And in an industry that can sometimes feel very transactional, that's incredibly refreshing.
Absolutely. It speaks to their focus on providing a high-quality experience from start to finish. They want their customers to feel confident and excited about their purchase.
So we've got a dealership with a 25-year history, a passion for unique cars, and a commitment to personalized service. What's not to like, right?
What's really intriguing is how they connect all of that to the potential for investment. They're not just selling cars, they're offering a way to combine passion with financial savvy.
So it's about making a smart decision, choosing a car that you love that fits your lifestyle and that could potentially appreciate in value over time.
Precisely. That's a powerful proposition, especially for those who see cars as more than just transportation.
Now we've just scratched the surface here. We'll be back to dig a little deeper into the types of cars Specialist Cars offers, their approach to customer service, and how they navigate the ever-evolving world of classic and collectible cars.
Welcome back to our deep dive into specialist cars. So let's shift gears a little bit here and really explore the heart of what they offer, the cars themselves.
Okay.
So picture this. You step into their showroom, and it's not just rows and rows of the same old used cars you see everywhere else. They seem to have curated a collection of standout vehicles.
Yeah, it's not just about volume, it's about quality and distinction. I noticed on their website they mentioned that the owner has a real passion for cars that may not depreciate and have potential investment value.
Yeah.
That suggests a very careful selection process, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like they're handpicking cars with a story to tell. Cars that have that certain something special that makes them stand out from the crowd.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that inherent value, both in terms of the car's history and its potential for appreciation. They're looking for vehicles that will continue to be desirable, both for their performance and their unique qualities.
We talked about supercars earlier. Can you give me an example of a supercar that might fit that description?
Sure. Let's take the Porsche 911, for instance. Certain models, especially limited editions or those with, unique racing histories, those have a proven track record of appreciating over time.
Why is that? What makes those specific 911s so special?
Well, it's a combination of factors, Limited production, runs racing heritage, iconic design, and a really passionate collector base. All of those elements contribute to their desirability and consequently their value.
So it's not just about buying any Porsche 911. It's about understanding which models have that investment potential.
Precisely. And that's where Specialist Cars' expertise really becomes invaluable. They can guide you through the nuances of the market and help you make a really informed decision.
Now let's shift gears again and talk about that family-run business aspect. How does that actually translate into the customer experience at Specialist Cars?
Well, imagine this. You call up Specialist Cars, and instead of getting, some generic salesperson, you're connected directly with the owner, who's a car enthusiast himself. He's not just trying to make a sale, he's sharing his passion and his knowledge with you.
That's a huge difference. It feels more like a conversation between fellow car lovers than a typical sales pitch.
Exactly. It creates a sense of trust and rapport. You're not just a number. You're a valued customer with specific needs and desires.
And that personal touch probably extends beyond the initial purchase, right?
Absolutely. It's about building those long-term relationships, They want their customers to be happy with their cars, not just on the day they buy them, but for years to come.
So it's about that continued support, that sense that they're there for you even after you drive off the lot.
Precisely. They understand that owning a, unique or classic car often comes with specific maintenance needs, and they're equipped to handle those needs.
Now, let's be realistic here for a second. We're talking about high-end cars, potentially even classics or supercars. These aren't exactly budget-friendly vehicles.
That's true. But Specialist Cars really emphasizes that a well-chosen car can be an investment, not just an expense. It's about shifting your mindset from depreciation to appreciation.
So instead of seeing a car as something that loses value over time, you're actually looking at it as a potential asset that could grow in value.
Exactly. And they seem to take the time to educate their customers about those nuances, helping them make informed decisions based on, their individual circumstances and goals.
Okay, so we talked about the virtual buying experience earlier, but I'm curious, how do they manage to maintain that personal touch even when transactions happen online?
Well, think of it this way. You're browsing their online inventory, and you come across a car that piques your interest. You can click for more photos, detailed specs, even videos. But you still have that option to call up the owner directly and have a chat about the car.
So you're not just relying on algorithms and automated responses. You're actually getting personalized insights from someone who really knows these cars inside and out.
Precisely. It's the best of both worlds. The convenience of online browsing combined with the reassurance of that human interaction. They're meeting the needs of today's busy buyer without sacrificing that personalized approach.
So we've talked about their curated collection of cars, their family-run ethos, and their unique approach to customer service. What's the key takeaway here? What makes Specialist Cars so unique?
Well, I think what really stands out to me is how they blend passion with pragmatism. They recognize that for a lot of people, a car is more than just a vehicle. It's a reflection of their personality, their dreams, their aspirations.
And they seem to guide their customers towards making choices that align with those aspirations, both emotionally and financially.
Exactly. They're not just selling cars, they're curating experiences. They're helping people connect with something special, something that sparks joy and perhaps even a bit of adventure.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I have to ask, what about those who are hesitant about buying a car online? How does Specialist Cars address those concerns?
That's a great question. And it's definitely something they seem to anticipate. They emphasize transparency and communication throughout the entire process. You're not just clicking buy now and hoping for the best.
So you're still getting that level of reassurance, that sense of security, even if you're not physically present at the dealership.
Exactly. They're using technology to enhance the buying experience, not to replace that human element.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground here. When we come back, we'll explore how Specialist Cars navigates the world of classic and collectible cars, and we'll wrap up with some key takeaways for our listeners.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome back for the final part of our deep dive into Specialist Cars. We've talked about their passion for cars, their commitment to quality, and that personal touch that they bring to the car buying experience. But let's shift gears one more time. Let's think about the bigger picture here.
What really fascinates me about Specialist Cars is how they tap into that emotional connection that people have with cars. For a lot of folks, it's not just about transportation. It's about owning a piece of history, a symbol of craftsmanship, a dream on four wheels.
Yeah, they really seem to get that. It's like they're curating a collection of automotive dreams, helping people find that perfect match for their personality and aspirations.
And they do it with a level of knowledge and expertise that's pretty impressive. I mean, they're not just selling cars, they're guiding their customers through a market that can be, complex and often overwhelming.
Especially when it comes to classic and collectible cars.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole different ballgame, isn't it?
It is. You're not just looking at mileage and features, you're considering provenance, originality, restoration quality, a whole host of factors that can impact a car's value.
So how does Specialist Cars navigate that world? What makes them stand out from other dealers who specialize in classic cars?
One thing that really jumps out at me is their emphasis on transparency. They seem to go to great lengths to provide detailed information about each car's history, its condition, any work that's been done.
Yeah, that's crucial, especially for buyers who might be new to the world of classic cars. It really builds trust and confidence.
Exactly. And they don't shy away from discussing the challenges of owning a classic car either. They're very upfront about the potential for maintenance costs, the need for specialized mechanics, and the importance of proper storage.
That kind of honesty is refreshing. It shows that they're not just trying to make a quick sale.
Right?
They genuinely want their customers to be happy with their purchases for years to come.
Absolutely. And, that ties back to their commitment to building those long-term relationships.
Yeah.
They understand that for many of their customers, buying a classic car is a significant investment, both financially and emotionally.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Specialist Cars, what would you say is the key takeaway for our listeners? What makes them worth considering?
Well, if you're in the market for a used car, but you're looking for something more than just basic transportation, something that speaks to your passion for automobiles, I'd say Specialist Cars is definitely worth checking out. They offer this really unique blend of quality expertise and personalized service. It's hard to find that in today's market.
Yeah, they seem to understand that buying a car can be more than just a transaction. It can be a journey, an experience, a connection to something truly special.
Exactly. They're not just selling cars, they're selling a passion for automotive excellence.
So if you're ready to explore that passion, I highly recommend you head over to their website. It's www.specialistcars.co.uk, or give them a call at 01617-645-706 or 07973-616-791. You might just discover that your dream car is waiting for you in Manchester.
And who knows, maybe you'll even become part of the Specialist Cars family, a community of enthusiasts who appreciate the art and history of these remarkable machines.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Specialist Cars. Till next time, keep the engines running and the passion for cars alive.